The gym industry has been quietly lying to you, and your body already knows it. What I'm about to show you has nothing to do with equipment, nothing to do with memberships, and everything to do with what actually causes your body to change. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and this video so that others can benefit. Think about the last time you missed a week at the gym. Maybe it was travel. Maybe life got complicated. Maybe the membership just didn't make sense anymore. And in that week, something strange happened. A quiet voice told you that your progress was slipping. That without the machines, the mirrors, the environment, you couldn't really train. That voice isn't coming from science. It's coming from years of conditioning, and it's costing you more than you realize. Here's what the research actually shows. Your muscles cannot tell the difference between a cable machine and a well-loaded bodyweight exercise. What they respond to is tension, time under load, and progressive challenge. That's the entire biological mechanism behind muscle adaptation. The building around you is irrelevant. The stimulus inside your muscles is everything. So today, we're going to dismantle the myth and replace it with a system that works in a hotel room, a living room, a backyard, or anywhere else life takes you. Stay with this, because what comes next is where most people have been getting it completely wrong. Here's the honest reason most people fail when they try to train without a gym. It's not lack of equipment, it's lack of structure. They open YouTube, find a random 20-minute routine, sweat a little, and call it done. Tomorrow they find a different one. The day after, they skip. Within 2 weeks, they're back to doing nothing. And they blame themselves, when really they just never had a real program. A program isn't a collection of exercises. A program is a system of progressive overload applied consistently over time. That's it. And the reason gyms feel like they provide that is because the machines have numbers on them. You loaded 60 kilos last week, so this week you try 65. It's visible, measurable, satisfying. But here's something most people never figure out. You can create that same measurable progression with nothing but your own body weight, if you know which variables to manipulate. And there are more variables than almost anyone talks about. Let me show you exactly what those variables are and how to use them. Most people think progression means doing more reps, and that's one way. But it's actually the least creative way, and it has a ceiling. Once you can do 30 push-ups, adding more reps stops building muscle and starts building endurance. They're not the same thing. So here are the real levers you can pull. Tempo. Slowing down a movement dramatically increases the time your muscle spends under tension, which is one of the primary drivers of hypertrophy. A 4-second descent on a push-up transforms a basic exercise into something that will humble almost anyone. Leverage. The further your body extends from the point of support, the harder the movement becomes. An archer push-up, where one arm extends out while the other bends, loads the working side far more intensely than a standard push-up. No added weight. Pure geometry. Range of motion. Elevating your feet on a push-up changes the angle of force through the shoulder. Training through a fuller range at unusual angles hits portions of the muscle that flat repetitions never touch. Unilateral loading. Single leg and single arm variations double the load on the working side instantly. A pistol squat is, mechanically, a more demanding lower body exercise than most weighted variations you'll find in a gym. Isometric holds. Pausing at the hardest point of a movement, the bottom of a squat, the midpoint of a push-up, recruits stabilizing muscle fibers that concentric-only training completely ignores. These 5 variables give you an almost unlimited number of ways to make your training harder without ever adding a single kilogram of equipment. And when you understand them, you stop feeling limited and start feeling resourceful. Now let's build that into something you can actually use. Starting this week, every effective training session, whether it happens in a gym or not, needs to cover 3 fundamental movement patterns: a push, a pull, and a hinge. These 3 patterns between them cover the majority of your musculature, and when each is trained progressively, your entire body adapts. For the push, your progression path might look like this: standard push-up, then close grip, then decline, then archer, then eventually a one-arm push-up. Each variation is harder than the last. That's your program. For the pull, and this is the one most people skip because they assume they need a bar, use what's around you. A table edge, a backpack filled with books hung from a door handle, a bed sheet looped over a door. Any fixed surface you can grip and lean away from gives you a horizontal pull. And if you can find an overhead grip anywhere, a sturdy branch, a door frame, a staircase railing, you have a vertical pull. Never skip pulling. The imbalance it creates in the shoulder joint is one of the most common causes of long-term pain in people who only train pushers. For the hinge, the single leg Romanian deadlift performed slowly is one of the most underrated exercises on the planet. Stand on one leg, push your hips back, and reach toward the floor. Do it on a smooth surface with a sock on your back foot, and you've introduced a sliding leg curl as well. Your hamstrings will remind you it exists for days afterward. 3 patterns, 3 progressive paths, trained 3 or 4 times a week with genuine effort. That is a complete program, not a gap filler until you get back to the gym. An actual program. But there's one more piece that determines whether any of this actually sticks, and it has nothing to do with the exercises. There's a reason gyms work for some people, and it has very little to do with the equipment. It's the ritual, the commute, the change of clothes, the environment that signals to your brain, this is training time. When that external structure disappears, most people don't replace it with anything. They just try to force themselves to work out in the same space where they eat, sleep, and scroll. And then wonder why motivation is hard to find. The fix is simpler than you'd think. You don't need a dedicated space. You need a dedicated signal. It might be putting on specific shoes you only wear for training. It might be a specific playlist that only plays during workouts. It might be moving to a different room, clearing a specific amount of floor space, and placing your hands on the ground before you begin. Your brain runs on patterns. Give it a reliable cue that means training begins, and the resistance you feel will drop significantly over time. The cue builds the habit. The habit removes the need for motivation. And once motivation is off the table as a requirement, consistency becomes something you can actually sustain. This is the piece that separates people who train consistently from people who train occasionally. It's not discipline, it's design. So let's bring this all together into something you can act on today. Here's what we know. Your muscles adapt to tension and challenge, not to postcode. The variables that drive progress, tempo, leverage, range of motion, unilateral load, isometric holds, are all available to you right now, without any equipment. The 3 movement patterns that cover the full body can be trained progressively, indefinitely, using nothing but your own body weight and a small amount of creativity. And the psychological foundation that makes all of it sustainable, a reliable cue, a consistent signal, can be built in a single week. The gym was never the reason some people got results. Systems were, and systems are portable. You don't need a membership. You don't need a waiting list for the squat rack. You don't need to rearrange your entire life to get strong. You need a clear understanding of what your body actually responds to, and the willingness to apply it with consistency. That starts wherever you are, right now, today.